Valentine's Day! St. Valentine, the patron saint of love and marriage and epilepsy and the mentally ill and beekeeping. So if there's a mentally ill epileptic that you love, propose to them with a beehive. That doesn't sound right. Hey there. While St. Valentine is the patron saint of a lot of interesting things, we usually just focus on love when it comes to his holiday. So, for this Valentine's Day, I decided to share with you guys my favorite ships in fandom. Of course, when we think of Valentine's Day, we think of romantic love. But the ships I'm going to show you are not just romantic, but also platonic and queer platonic. It's just going to be a wide array of beautiful love. Starting off strong with number one, we have, of course, my OTP and one of the oldest ships I have, but not the oldest. We'll get to that one soon enough. And of course, I'm talking about Percabeth. Percy and Annabeth. I have been shipping these two since the Titan's Curse. And for anyone that says that they've had a thing for each other since the Lightning Thief, anything that isn't overtly obvious went over my head as a child. I didn't even pick up on Percy's crush on Luke until I reread it this year. Percy and Annabeth are just a classic. Friends to lovers. You can almost say are rivals to friends to lovers because they did have a bit of a riff in the beginning, but I wouldn't even consider it that. It's just friends to lovers, and they're just so genuinely in love with each other. I love it. It's just a lot of main couples, they are dull, you know? The writer just puts them together and doesn't really care. Just doesn't put in any effort to show that they actually love each other, but not Rick. Rick shows that Percy and Annabeth love each other, and I just love them for it. Keeping with the Riordan verse, number two, Cleo. So, while we had a romantic pairing with Percy and Annabeth, I don't actually ship Calypso and Leo romantically anymore. I did when it first came out, but when it first came out, I was also very much a canon shipper. I shipped exclusively canon at the time. But to be honest, the more I look at Calypso and Leo, the more I'm just not feeling something romantic between them. Not even queer platonic, personally. I did consider that, but it just feels like a platonic relationship to me. When we get into Trials of Apollo, I've kind of got this headcanon that when they live with Joe and Emmy, they just start, going about their day-to-day life, and they start to realize that the relationship they have isn't really romantic. It's almost reminiscent of a brother and sister. So they kind of just break up on good terms and stay best friends with each other. That is how I like to read the couple. But, canon is canon and headcanon is mine. Number three, Ferrio Chase. The pairing of Magnus Chase and Alex Ferrio. Okay. I haven't actually read them as a couple yet, but I do know they become canon. I just haven't gotten a chance to read book 3 yet. It has been on my reading list for years now. I just misplaced the book 3 years ago. Anyway, just because I haven't seen them together yet does not mean I don't ship them, because I've seen them as friends together, and oh my gosh, they are... I love it. And I can't wait to see them get together. Number 4, Rugard. Now, I didn't actually ship these two when I first read the series. Like I said, back then, unless it was overtly obvious, I didn't pick up on it. And since I didn't know the stories of Achilles and Patroclus back then, I didn't know they were supposed to be romantically involved. I didn't get that was his way of jumping around the censors. But now that I know, I'm able to go back and appreciate their relationship a lot more. That being said, I also really like Selena and Charlie together. But you know what? You can ship someone with two different people. You can have multiple ships for the same character. I honestly mostly ship them just because of how dirty the lightning thief did Beckendorf. Like, how dare you accuse that immaculate man of being a cheater? He would never. And that's all I have to say on that. Number 5, of course, is Solangelo. I love Solangelo, and I am upset that I spoiled it for myself. I looked into some Percy Jackson stuff before I was finished with the Heroes of Olympus series, and it told me they got together. And I am still angry at myself. But you know what? I really like the couple, and I can't wait to read The Sun and the Star. Again, another book I haven't read yet. I am so behind on my reading, but I'm going to read it soon. It is the next book I'm going to read after I finish the book I'm currently on. So I'm very excited for that. I cannot wait. It's a good ship. The last Rardenverse ship. I I feel awkward admitting it. I'm not gonna lie, I feel awkward admitting it. I don't even think there's fan art to show of it, but let's pretend there is. Well, now you know. I ship Connor, Stoll, and Mitchell. I don't even think Mitchell has a last name. They have never once interacted together in canon. Technically speaking, they aren't even in the same series. Connor's never mentioned in Heroes of Olympus, and Mitchell's never mentioned in Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I found one person who writes them. I stumbled upon the ship, okay? I stumbled upon it. It just happened to fall into my lap, and I read every single fanfic that person wrote. I love it. I love it so much. I don't care that these are two background characters that have, like, next to no just characterization to them, and they have never met, and they aren't even from the same series. I don't care. It was amazing. The fanfiction were amazing. I am obsessed. I wouldn't say that I don't ship the other popular ships in canon ships. Like, I do enjoy Katie and Travis and Hazel and Frank, and for the time they were together, Jason and Piper. I do like them, but I wouldn't consider myself a big shipper of these people. They're there, and I like it. Moving on to Sandersides, which ended up being a big part of my shipping personality. I was hesitant to ship in Sandersides at first. It was almost uncomfortable for me because it felt incestuous. Says the girl that likes Percy Jackson ships. Yes, I know. But as I got more comfortable with the series, I stopped seeing them as incestuous. They seem more like individual people rather than parts of a whole character. And I've done a lot of shipping. First off, let's call this couple the OTP of Sandersides, because they are not my OTP. Percabeth is. But these guys, oh, they're so freaking close. Judge me on this. Just please judge me on this. If you don't judge me on this, there's something wrong with you, because there's clearly something wrong with me. Intrulogical. It's Intrulogical. I mean, come on. Come on. Do I even have to explain myself? It's so obvious. It's the opposites attract almost, but also, like, not, because, like, they're different, and one is very emotional and the other is very logical, but then also, like, they have that shared mad scientist feel when they're together in a ship, because you don't actually really see that in canon, and oh my god. I can't help it, okay? I can't help it. Okay, number 8, and I'm just realizing that I forgot to mention if something's platonic or romantic. So far, what I've listed is either inherently romantic, canonically romantic, or in the case of Intrulogical, it can go any way you please. platonic, queer, platonic, romantic, doesn't matter. However, for number 8, Moxiety. They are queer platonic or platonic if you want, but not romantic at all. It's just, no, not how I see them. I really like Moxiety, and I'm so sad that I dropped out of the fandom when they were still on bad terms with each other. I don't even know if the fandom's been updated. Maybe they're on good terms again. In my heart, they are in good terms. They are best friends again. Everything is okay. Why did it have to end like that? Whew. My fangirl senses are overwhelming. As for the rest of Sandersides, I've actually dabbled in various ships. It's a fun writing exercise because it gives you various dynamics in different ways, which I guess can be true for any fandom, but when you're in a fandom that has no canon romances, it makes it a lot easier. That being said, there is one more Sanderside ship that somehow snaked its way into my life, and I don't know how. 3, 2, 1. Yep. Moseat. Moseat. I ship freaking Moseat. Why? Well, I am questioning myself right now. I question every taste I have in Sandersides except for Moxiety. Moxiety is the only rational one I have. I blame fandom for making me ship Moseat. Specifically, I had someone ask me to write a fan fiction about Moseat, and I've written for ships I don't personally ship. I've written for Duxiety, which I will never ship personally. I don't judge those who do. It's just not a ship for me. Someone asked me to write a Moseat fic, and I fell in love because of my own freaking writing. So, yeah. Also, platonic Moseat is nice. I do want to point out just any form of their relationship is liking it, loving it, perfect. Bop our way over to Young Justice real quick because they happen to have the one other ship that's trying to fight its way to OTP status. And gosh, it is so close. If Rick didn't start writing another book series with Percy and Annabeth, they might have actually taken over. And that would be ship number 10. I think we're on 10. Oh well. Spitfire. And we're going to take a quick little break before I get into them to talk about how much I love Young Justice's ship names. There are so many good ship names. I love them. I hope that when I become a published author and people ship my characters, they will name ships like this because this is how I want ships to be named. Spitfire. Now, do I really have to explain Spitfire to you guys? Wally and Artemis are just... they are written so well, okay? They're written so well. And a quick spoiler for the series, if no one's ever watched it, in any iteration I write, Wally is alive. He lived, okay? So Artemis is not grieving him anymore because he is alive and well. He does not die, not in my fandom. Well, my headcanon. In my fandom, he is long dead. Anyway, I just really like it. And again, that is the classic rivals to friends to lovers. I don't even know if they really had... like, the friendship part was so, like, short. It was like rivals to friends to lovers. Like, it was like a quick pit stop. And, oh, I love the New Year's Day episode. And, oh my gosh, and I love season 2's opening when she had the fridge full of food for him, and he's learning Vietnamese because she speaks it. And the line that Cat Nelson says, "Find yourself your own Spitfire." Just... and the best part, I personally think the best part is the the therapy scene where Black Canary is talking to Wally and asking him how he feels about, that fake mission and all that, and asking about Artemis, and she's like, "You're in denial." And Wally's just like, "I'm okay with that." Like, I love the idea of him just being like, "I recognize I am in love with this girl, but I'm refusing to recognize it." That's just a really good character moment for me. I just really love it. I really love them. Moving on. Now, this ship is important to me because it was my first non-canon ship, kind of. It's what got me into non-canon shipping, dipped my toes in a little bit, because I read online that they were basically canon and that they were going to be canon. And looking back, no, they were not, but they are a good ship nonetheless. And that, of course, is number 12? We're going to skip counting, okay? That, of course, is Blue Pulse. I like Blue Pulse. I happen to ship one of the characters differently now, but I like Blue Pulse a lot. And I know I said earlier that you can have multiple ships, but when we get to the other one, you're going to understand I can't ship that character with anyone else. It's just too hard. Okay. Blue Pulse is very important to me because it got me into non-canon shipping, which in turn led me to queer shipping, because a lot of queer ships are subtextual because of freaking I can't even say the word apparently. Heteronormativity. Straight people being in charge. I can't say the word today. I don't know why. It's a long word. They were fun, and I liked writing about them. I wrote fanfics about them. But it got overturned by what essentially is canon, that they tried their best to make canon. That, of course, I don't know why I keep my hands here because it's too early. That, of course, is... I forgot their name. Oh my god. I've just been sitting here for a second, thinking about the picture. Yeah, thinking about it. I don't remember what name we landed on. I wanted to call them Edbarto because it fits so perfectly. Even though, like I said, I prefer the more fun names, it just happened to fit so perfectly. I wanted to call them Edbarto, but I know that didn't win out. I don't remember what won out. Golden Flash, maybe? Regardless, they are canon. They are canon. I know you'll say, like, "Oh, they aren't canon." He calls him his amigo, not his no wave. I swear to God, I speak Spanish. I had to look it up. It's Novio. That's what I get for not switching over to a new app after I stopped using Duolingo. Anyway, yes, Bart calls Ed his amigo, not his novio. But, it's because the writers were not allowed to make Bart gay. It would have been fine to make Eduardo gay. And they essentially did. They were to God him being gay. But they weren't allowed to do that with Bart because he's too big of a character. I don't know why I'm putting air quotes. They weren't quoted as saying that, but that is the reason why. He's too popular, so they couldn't have him be gay. Not even in one alternate universe. But the creators did everything they could to let us know. They're the only two friends on a group date. Bart literally just comes up and hugs Ed from behind, which is not inherently romantic, I'll give you, because I would definitely hug a person, but it had the vibe there. And there's also the fact that, like I said, word of God, Ed was confirmed as gay and in a relationship with a character they could not confirm was gay. Gee, what male character, or any character for that matter, does Ed hang out with the most in season 4? Gee, I wonder. And just one honorable mention. I don't really ship them. I'm not against them. I'm fine with them being canon. I just don't like actively ship them. I just want to point out Emerald Crown specifically because their ship name is Emerald Crown. I don't care what the show gave them, that Garita or whatever. I can't remember because it was stupid. It doesn't fit with the fandom. Their name is Emerald Crown, and that is that. I will die on this hill, even though they are not my ship. I almost forgot. There's probably not even a picture of them, but I'll try. It'll be here if there's a picture. I do like the foragers. They're cute. The foragers are cute, okay? When it comes to Avatar The Last Airbender, I was a full blown canon shipper at the time. So all I really knew was canon ships. Of course, I shipped Katang. I think we all shipped Katang. Okay, yeah, that's true. Zukara was also pretty popular. I liked Katara and Aang together. I thought they were cute. It was really adorable, in my opinion. I just really liked them together. That's all I have to say on that. And like I said, it was basically a canon shipper only when I was first watching the series. My next favorite Avatar The Last Airbender ship is, well, Sokka. I really like Sokka. I think they're really cute. And it sucks because from the rumors I've heard about the new live action television series, they are utterly going to destroy Sokka, which just sucks. On a side note, I did really like Sokka and Yue as well, but I see that more as a temporary ship than like a mainstay, if that makes sense. Like, I ship them for the portion that they were together, not just in general like I do with Sokka. That being said, ever since Avatar The Last Airbender came onto Netflix a few years ago, I started dipping my toes into some non shipping, which didn't ever happen for me when I first watched the series. Because, like I said, I was a big canon shipper back then. And now I know a lot of people ship Zukara, but I started shipping Zoka. But you know what? Like I said in the beginning with Selena, same thing goes for Sokka. Sokka got two hands. He can have two partners. You can actually have an infinite amount of partners. No, infinite sounds odd when you talk about human beings because there's a finite number of human beings in the world, and I'm getting off track. Basically, let him have as many people as he wants to have. I like them both together. I like them as like a polyamorous ship. I don't personally ship Zuko and Suki together, but I see them as being best friends. So, well, not best. Okay, it's hard to explain. They are friends, so in a platonic way, I do ship them. It's just in a romantic way, I don't. I ship Zuko and Sokka romantically. I ship Sokka and Suki romantically, and I ship Suki and Zuko platonically. That is the dynamic. Now let's get into some S&D tier. When it comes to shipping in this fandom in particular, like the series itself, I'm very fluid with the shipping here. So I have multiple ships that aren't inherently polyamorous, but they also are sometimes polyamorous, and it just depends on what I feel like writing that day or just daydreaming about that day. So it's very hard to explain my personal headcanons for this series because they're as fluid as the series itself. That being said, let's get into the ships. And my main ship. The art is courtesy of my best friend. So thank you for this art. I paid for this. I paid money for this. Okay, my first ship is dtier spouses, Morgan and Barnaby. Now I know there's like another ship name for them that somebody came up with to fit the theme of shipping in this fandom, but you know what? They don't ship Morgan and Barnaby, so I get to name Morgan and Barnaby. There are like three of us that ship these two, and I say they're D-tier spouses. I name them D-tier spouses because they are D-tier spouses. I have a thing for enemies and lovers. Not enemies to lovers, enemies and lovers. And this is the prime example. I. This is peak ship right here. peak ship. Now, next up, oh, I, oh, I'm a little embarrassed. Apparently, I'm embarrassed. For the longest time, I shipped Alex and Morgan Sandwich, I believe they're called, Sandwich, as queer platonic partners. I like them as queer platonic partners, and that is one of the ways I still ship them, but I was so against them being romantic in my personal headcanon. I didn't care other people did, but in my personal headcanon. But for the love of God, somebody slipped through. Somebody slipped through my little wall and made me ship them romantically. Not happy about this. But I ship them romantically as well as queer platonically. I do. Honestly, I do like most of the ships in this fandom. I like Ohio and Barnaby together, and thanks to Gamer Archive on TikTok, I am a fan of Chad with Rex and Camille. For those who don't know, Camille is who they call Rex's wife, and they're in like a grouping together, and I like that, specifically Gamer Archive's version. So yeah, there's a lot of good ships in this fandom. I could go on for hours about every single ship I have in the vast amount of fandoms I have. I could tell you about ships I have in my own writing, canon and non-canon. Because yes, believe it or not, as a writer, I am still a non-canon shipper. Sometimes it just does not work for the plot, but you want it in your heart. That being said, I'm going to end the video here with one last ship. My very first ship. Beast Boy and Raven, BB Ray. But Shannon, I thought you didn't get into non-canon shipping till you were like 19. Yeah, well, turns out I was actually a non-canon shipper from the beginning. I remember a conversation I actually had on the bus in 7th grade with a friend of mine who also watched Teen Titans. We were talking about the characters, and I said I really like the idea of Beast Boy and Raven being a couple. And her reply was, but they aren't together. You should like Beast Boy and Terra together. So that was the end of that. Thank you, peer pressure. And I was a canon shipper for years after that. Yeah. But you know what? The past is the past, and I am shipping Beast Boy and Raven for the rest of my life now because I like it. And guess what? It turns out the creators of the show wanted to give them an old married couple vibe, so I was already kind of on the money. I enjoy shipping. I enjoy shipping so much. It is just so much fun, especially crack ships sometimes. Just two characters that aren't even supposed to be together. Like, I remember when people were shipping Jack Frost and Elsa from Frozen, even though not only were they not in the same movie, they weren't made by the same companies. Shipping is just fun and enjoyable, and it's even better when everyone can agree that they don't have to agree. You can like your ships, I can like my ships, and we can go along our merry way because we don't have to make a big deal out of it. The idea of shipping wars just perplexes me. Why do people need to view the characters the way you view them? I think we should all just have fun this Valentine's Day and have fun every other day of the year, shipping or not shipping, and just enjoying what we enjoy. This was a fun video to share what I love with you guys. And I hope that you guys are able to share what you love with your friends and other members of your fandom. Because that's the point of a fandom, to have fun. And I had a lot of fun today. So until next time, I will see you later. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.